Hey, hello everyone. How are you all doing today? This is Adelere additional from Nigeria, and in the next 30 minutes, we're going to be talking on changing your self concept, how to change your self concept. Now, in the last few days, we have actually been doing a couple of exercises using Neville's fundamentals that one he wrote for INTA in 1953. And he talked about three steps of the fundamentals. So we're going to be learning how to apply them again, which we've been doing really in the exercises. So this is something you've got a lot of experience with already. So we'll learn how to apply them, and also we'll learn what self-concept really is, which is the first thing we'll get into now. So in 20 minutes, I'm going to be doing all that. And then after 20 minutes, if we have any questions, 10 minutes for the questions. And then we can leave the space for until our next coaching clinic. So, oh yes, it's wonderful, Shruti. You're welcome. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, what is self-concept? I think that's where we want to start, because this is very important to understand. And then when we understand it, we will be able to see how important it is to change self-concept. So what is self-concept? Now, I know you have a lot of your background understanding. You've read a lot of books and seen a lot of teachers and so on and so forth about self-concept. What self-concept really means is an idea that you hold to be true. That's all. An idea that you hold to be true. Now, I'm not saying an idea that you hold to be true of your personal self. I'm not saying an idea I hold to be true of Adelere. I'm saying an idea that I hold to be true. That is it. Once I believe something is true, it's my self-concept. See, you go back to the printing shares of revision and you may understand more properly what Neville means by self, what it means by your beliefs in the printing shares of revision lecture. Okay, that was in 1954 he wrote this, or he gave this. And he said, if I heard about a person and the person said, I'm unemployed, and I heard it, now it becomes myself. It becomes a part of myself. Because that belief, anytime I'm going to be reporting that to someone else, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say anything other than he is unemployed. Okay, let me put it in a situation again, in a dramatic situation. So, John calls me and says, Adelere, I'm unemployed. And I go, oh, John, you're unemployed? And yeah, he says, yes, I'm unemployed. Then I'm on a call with Alice. Alice is our friend. And I'm on a call with Alice, and Alice says, Adelere, how are you? I say, well, I'm good. Have you heard from John? She says, no, I've not. What's up? And I said, John is unemployed. Whose belief is it that John is unemployed? My belief. That's part of myself. Do we see self-concept now? It's more than, okay, I believe that Adelere is short, tall, black, white, or anything. It's all of what I believe to be true. That is what we call self-concepts. Okay, now, self-concept includes how you see yourself, how you think others see you, and how you see the world around you, how you see others. It's all of those are self-concepts. So, why is it so important to change our self-concept? If that is it, why is it so important to change it? Or why do we want to work on this instead of just, go about and manifest one or two things? And maybe I should first clarify. You can actually manifest a couple of things without changing your self-concept. Let us understand that very thoroughly. For instance, you've seen people who win the lottery, yes? They won lottery, so they got into millions. But then they have not changed their self-concept of poverty, so they go back into poverty. Yeah? So it's possible to manifest wonderful things, but if you keep them, if it will be stable for you, if you'll enjoy it, well, that depends on if you change your self-concept. I like to use an analogy here, and the analogy is simple. So, when you were 10, 11, 12 years old, okay, you had clothes that you were using. If your parents wanted to buy your clothes, they didn't take away the ones that you had in your closet already. When you were at 12, the clothes that you wore at 11, you probably still kept them. And then they just bought more, newer ones. Except for those that were worn and torn, they would dispose those off. But otherwise, they kept them. Yeah? And then bought more to them. That is you manifesting things. Just buy more. Okay, that's you manifesting things. You sort of add more experiences to what you've already got, but the old layer is still there. Now, if you want to change your wardrobe, Now, let's say you're 18 years old, okay? You're 18, you couldn't use what you wore when you were 10, you couldn't use what you wore when you were 12, even if they were your favorite, most favorite in the world. What do you have to do? You have to change them. See, your new at 18 is not the same as your new at 10. Your new at 10 was adding more things to the existing ones. Your new at 18 is changing the whole thing, having a new set of clothes in your wardrobe. Okay? So in fact, your new at 18 when you were rich would be different from your new at 18 when you were poor. Do you realize that? You're gonna change everything. Now, that is what changing your self-concept is like. That is how it is against manifesting one or two things. So if you want tricks, you can quickly learn one or two techniques, manifest things. But if you want a change of your life into stability, into progress, wonder, daily manifestations of miracles, then you want to change your self-concept. So let's see a little bit more about how tricky self-concepts can be, so that we can understand why this is very important for us to do thoroughly in terms of those three fundamentals that Neville mentioned. So Neville said something in fundamentals, if you go through it. It says that most of us like to think that we are kind and generous, loving and noble, forgiving and tolerant and understanding individuals. And then we go on displeasing or being displeased by our circumstances without realizing that it is that secret self that we so much covet, that we so much keep in us, that is creating the circumstances that we do not like or that we do not appreciate. And the key word, if you want to understand how, the key word is the implication. Got it? Implication. Now, let me mention first, you like to be dramatic. Your imagination is the most dramatic being on earth. I mean, just look at the whole drama of the whole universe. Look at the drama of the promise, the drama of you having to become human, go through these human experiences so that you can remember that you're God. Who else is that dramatic? You. Okay, so the drama comes in how you imply things. Let us speak a simple two instances, one with money, one with relationship. One with career, one with relationship. So let's pick this with career. So with career, you go thinking, I want to give the best products, and then yes, that's good. So what do you think you want to do with your best products? You think you want to serve people. That's wonderful. So how do you want to serve people? You want to serve people who need your products. Now that's where you've wrecked the whole thing. Serve people who need your products means they are not in a good position to enjoy the products. Their survival is dependent on it. And finally, because their survival is dependent on it, you don't expect them to be able to afford it. In fact, you don't expect them to be proud of using it because they're in a needy position with the products. Do you realize there's a difference between people needing your products or services or your personal services in employment and people wanting your products, wanting your services, and wanting your personal services in employment? There's a big, wide difference, a big gap. So that is it. Now, we like to actually feel important, and that's the thing. You want to be so important to people that they really appreciate you for surviving. But no, you don't need them to need your products. You don't need them to have their survival depend on what your product serves them with. Because what you do with that is you keep having more people who need your products. More people are ready to rob it, or ready to not pay you up to your maximum expectations or to what you really deserve or worth, or what you think your services are worth. More people who, when they don't have your products, havoc happens in their life, and you don't like that. So you think more that, they need more of your products, but no, they don't need more of your products. They need you to change what you're imagining, your self-concept, or your belief of them. So go from needing them, from them needing it, to them wanting it. Now, if they want it, that means they value it. That means they see it to have value. That means it's premium for them. That means they find it to be so important. Now, not necessary, but important. So important that they're willing to pay the premium price for it. So once they want your products, what happens? Growth. Now, do you see the difference? We think we're noble because we are providing what people need. And then we go on saying my clients or my customers are not the ones paying. They're not paying me, and that's why I'm stuck here. But that's not true. It's because of the self-concept that we have of them. Do we think they need it, or do we think they want it? That's what makes all the difference. Now, the second I said I'm going to be talking about is relationship. Yeah, so this is interesting with relationship. So we like to be loving partners, of course. But most times, what most of us think loving means is that we are there for them when things are down. We're there to support them through in the dark times. And as such, we ascribe our importance, our ultimate importance in our partner's life to when they are down. So if our partner is imagining and believing themselves to be successful, we can't be in their life. We can't have importance in their life. And the moment they come down by their own assumption of not being successful, or the moment that we want to feel important in their life, we simply let things that are not so nice happen to them, and then we gain the importance. Do we see that? Let me use, this is so popular a theme. There's this particular song, for instance, Good Morning Beautiful. And then there's a part of it that says, I'm never worried if it's raining outside, because with you, girl, the sun always shines. Now, really, that is a very unhealthy self-concept. Because what that is saying is that, well, the whole world will be bad to contrast with our love, that our love is perfect or good. Or in many other ways that you might see that happening. So people like to be forgiven. But if you're a forgiving person, what does that imply? It implies people are trespassing or hurting you or giving you things that you don't like. And then you have to, well, be forgiven. You can't be forgiven if they don't do those things. Do you realize that? You can't be, for instance, you can't be kind to the needy if they don't get needy. So for you to show forth that you're kind, they've got to be in a position of needing. You can't be understanding to people if they are not trespassing their boundaries. So you've got to just be mute, let them trespass their boundaries, and then feel like, well, you're the understanding one, they're the bad ones, you're the good one. So, how do we change our self-concept? Well, we go through the fundamentals, which is self-observation, definition of aim and detachment. So self-observation is this. You watch your inner reactions to the triggers of your daily circumstances of life. Because actually, why those things keep happening is because you hold them in your imagination. You keep them there. So if you can change what you're imagining, your whole life will change. That's if you can change what you're imagining unconsciously. Now, this is very important to understand, and this is connected back to inner conversations. When we learned about inner conversations, we learned that our inner speech controls our unconscious, non-deliberate imagining, like our dreams, and so on and so forth. So when you are doing your self-observation, you're going to look in your inner speech and the feeling associated with it, because that's what makes your assumptions of life. So for instance, you take a relationship, and then you go, what am I thinking? I've always wanted my loving partner to walk into my life, my Prince Charming to just sweep me away and then take me to that dreamland forever and ever. But it's not happened. All of these days or weeks or months or years that I've been imagining it, applying the law of assumption, it's not happened. So why? Now, when Sammy asked that kind of question to Neville in a lecture, Neville simply said this in response. He said, I've told you that imagination creates reality. And it's only a question if you take that seriously, because if you do, then you realize that the things that are happening now are held by some imaginal acts in you. And until you change those imaginal acts in you, those things will continue to perpetuate themselves. Okay? So, you simply look in yourself to find that imaginal act in you that is keeping those undesirable states in place, or undesirable experiences in place. And that is what self-observation does. So you go on, let's take relationships. So you go on looking at your relationship. How have you been wanting this person, doing your SATs on it, doing all of these techniques on it, and then in the end you still end up not having it. But your inner reactions first start with, how are you desiring it? So how do you feel yourself to be important in that person's life? That's one. Do you think you're important because you're there for them when they're down? You're important because you're the one they run back to? You're important because you're the one who is understanding, who is forgiving, who is tolerant, who is kind when they are suffering, and so on and so forth? Moments when they do not have those assumptions in their life, you walk out of their life. So you want to look at yourself if you're holding those kind of assumptions or any other type that may be peculiar to you, but you look in your inner conversations. Let's pick an instance. You call your SP, okay? You call, maybe, let me use the word darling. So you call your darling, and your darling is not picking their calls, and then you go thinking, oh, is it with someone else now? Or is she doing something now? Or what are they? Okay, those inner conversations you're holding, they are state-based. In other words, they are reflecting to you the state of consciousness that you're in, and that's where you've got to change first. So you write them down. I am fearful that is probably found someone else that is better than me. And maybe that is even why I'm trying to call him every hour instead of just let him have his peace at work and then come back to him when he's ready in the evening. Or maybe that is why I am trying to do this and do that, even though they are uncomfortable for me, but trying to do them so that he may think that I love him genuinely more than others. And then so on and so forth. You write down these inner conversations that you may be having in your head. Then once you write them down, you can easily see these are the things that I've been thinking that is causing the things I've been experiencing. Now, you ask yourself a simple question. Do I want to keep them? Because actually you may want to keep them. Why? Because you still feel important in some of these things. For instance, you can bring the whole self-concept thing down to two. Number one, how do I feel important? How do I feel I deserve sorry in this situation? Yeah, that's it. How do I feel I deserve a sorry in this situation? For instance, I deserve a sorry because he's neglected me since morning. He didn't call me. What did he expect me to be doing all the while? Blah, 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 blah. That's it. Number two, how do I feel he deserves or she deserves or they deserve a sorry from me? How do I feel I should be sorry in this situation? The first one is your self-righteousness. The second one is your self-pity. And the two, if you go back to Control Your Inner Conversations, lecture by Neville, the two are the ways by which we misuse our inner conversations and put ourselves in undesirable states perpetually without realizing that we've done that. So once you realize that and you change it, you ask yourself, do I want to keep it? No. Okay. Honestly, go on to the second. Honestly, looking at your desires. That's number two. Definition of aim. So there's something you truly, really want from the depth of your heart. And that thing, whatever it may be, you want to accept it. Apply the same self-honesty that you applied in the first instance to that definition of aim or the desire. Let me give you an instance. Something that Neville mentioned in his lectures that I have actually found to be very true of many women or ladies. Most women like to appear to be independent. Like, I'm the independent woman. I am this and that. I'm financially independent, social independent, so on and so forth. They like to appear so. But the reality of the matter is they want to enjoy their husband's luxuries. They want to enjoy their husband's money. Neville said that his mother enjoyed the luxuries of his father's money. His sister didn't get married. Didn't work. His mother didn't work. Just enjoyed having servants take care of her. His sister didn't work. His own wife, he worked for 2 years and then could be able to keep her. And then from that time on, told her to stop working. And he said he hardly knew any woman on earth who wouldn't want that. That's true. If you would like to be married, you would really want to enjoy your husband's money. So why go on trying to be an independent woman? This is not to say, by the way, that you don't have your own financial means, your own financial capacities, or have your business working and so on and so forth, having your own money. But that you want to spend your husband's money lavishly. Accept that. Mentally accept it. If you do, you can't be thinking yourself to be the one who is the financially independent woman that has enough money to support him when he's down. What you be imagining is that he has way more money than you can spend, and then you lavish it, and he just feels proud and happy to be a man who has all the money for it to lavish. Do you see the difference in those two states? Still relationship, but one, you feeling yourself to be important because you're there to support him when he's down financially and you have the money. Two, you feel yourself to be important because you see him liking you spend his money lavishly or spend his money in a very wonderful way that he feels himself to be proud as a man, as a husband for you. Do we see the difference? Okay, so you define your aim clearly. And seriously, you want to define it irrespective of what anyone thinks you should want. Do you want to have a lot of money? Now, many people, for instance, this is something about money. Many people, when they want money, they go, I want millions. So you ask them why. And they go, oh, so that I can help the people in Africa, so that I can help the kids in Africa, the poor women in Africa or in Asia. No, don't. It's not because of those things. It's because you want millions. You want to have the feeling of having millions in your account. Or the feeling of sleeping, making millions your bed. That's why you want millions. So, you simply define your aim, noting clearly what your aim is, and then you go from there to practicing detachment. Now, a word of warning on detachment, because for most of us, we might think detachment means detaching from your desire or from your aim. No, it actually means detaching from that old state of consciousness and fusing with your desire, but from an angle. Not from the angle of I want it, but from the angle of I have it. So what does it feel like now that I have it? Then you fuse with that feeling. That's detachment. So detachment has two things in it. It has you detaching from the old state, and then you attaching to your new desire, or to the feeling of you having that new state, wearing it constantly to the point that that is what is going on in your inner conversation. I'm such a millionaire, everyone is so jealous, or everyone is so excited, everyone wants to meet me, everyone wants to interview me, or whatever else you might want to use. I'm such a millionaire that I hold conferences with millionaires. Because not I'm such a millionaire that I'm helping kids in Africa. You can help kids in Africa without being a millionaire. But if you're holding conferences in a millionaire conference and they're listening to you as the speaker, then definitely you're a millionaire. So you see yourself in that respect. Oh, I'm such a great wife that my husband takes care of, lavishes with all the love, attention, and so on and so forth. Want what you want unreservedly, committedly, and noting your inner conversations around it and the feeling you're having about it on a daily basis, especially when the trigger comes up. Okay, so that is how to change your self-concept. By the way, all of this doesn't have to take days. Actually, you can do it within a day. In fact, within a sitting, if you're careful enough to observe your thoughts about a particular idea, then to define your aim carefully, knowing what you want honestly, and then of course to detach. Okay, so now we can have the questions come in the comment section, because this is just the time for us to ask our questions. Yeah, thank you. The multi-millions equals freedom. Oh, by the way, you want to be free, be free. Don't let it be dependent on the millions also. You want to have millions, because you could have the two independently. Yeah. So let's see, any questions? Please just drop them in the comments. I can be able to see the comments. Okay, let's give a minute. If there are no questions within the minutes, then we would know that we've just had a wonderful, fantastic time in this coaching clinic. And while I wait for the questions to pop up, okay, I think I see 2 points there. So while I wait for that, number one, there is this beautiful masterclass coming up by Isabel. We all know Isabel, a fantastic coach here on True Cosmic also, and I recommend it highly, because one thing about changing your self-concept is never calls it changing the feeling of I, and this is what Isa is going to be teaching us. Feeling is the secret. So I would totally recommend it. The link is in the description for this video. Do look it up. Now let's see, we have still struggling with the feelings of being unworthy of your aim. If you are, then you've not done your self-observation thoroughly. So go back to your self-observation. If you did your self-observation with the feeling of shame, with the feeling of with being critical about yourself, you won't be able to be honest with your true desires. So you've got to be brutally honest in your self-observation, and that means not criticizing or judging yourself. Just accepting, well, I created this and I can recreate it, I cannot create it, so let me look at what I've created so that I can change it. Okay, so that would be my response to that. Why do I want to win the lotto? Well, you ask yourself that. Why? But if you ask me, why do I want to win the lotto? I'll tell you, because I want to win the lotto. That's all. No other reason. Is it because I think the lotto will make me a millionaire? No, because I can be a millionaire in many ways. All that I require to be a millionaire is my imagination. Is it because I think winning the lotto will buy me my car? No. If I want to get a car, I imagine that I have the car. If I want to pay for a car, I imagine that I pay for the car. If I want to have a car, I imagine I have it. That's all. So if I want to win the lotto, it's because I want to have the feeling of winning the lotto and seeing that, oh yeah, I got this lotto thing going. So yeah, have a successful global business. That's a worthy defined aim. If my aim is freedom, including millionaire SP business, is that too broad? Actually, No, it's not. It's just that you want to be very specific about each thing because they are different. So they're very, very independent of one another. And when we lump our desires together that way and we're not careful with it, what we might end up doing is we might end up conditioning one another. So please just have freedom, independence of millionaire SP business, because you could actually be free and not have millions. For instance, you could feel the freest person on earth and not have a great business. Or you could have SP, have business, millionaire, and not be free, in fact, because of those things. So, have them separated, and that will be an excellent way to go. Always separate your desires. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Let's see more questions here. Working on it, how to go about it. Go through this again, and you'll see how to go about these things that we've talked about here. Now, you note that you've actually fused with your aim if you're not asking yourself questions like, how am I going to achieve it? And you're rather in the feeling of, oh, it's so wonderful that I am already it. I'm the kind of person that everyone wants to imitate when it comes to this particular goal or aim in life. Okay, maintaining self-concept why 3 days shows otherwise is what I struggle with the most. Then you've not done your self-observation through to detachment. Because if you do, you would be able to maintain it. 3 days doesn't show you anything. If it triggers something in you, remember, then it is time for you to go back to your fundamentals. Every person that I know who has done this thoroughly, including myself, when they do it thoroughly and they do it honestly, without being critical on that self-observation path, they are able to get to detachment without feeling any resistance or struggling with 3 days again. It doesn't matter if you do it. It won't matter to you what really shows. Okay, so how to release resistance when changing self-concept? Okay, good question. And what I would suggest you to understand is this, that you created what you have now. In fact, you know you wanted it at a point in time. What you have now, you wanted at a point in time. Let me restate that point, and it's very important for us to grasp it when I say it. Whatever you are experiencing right now, the life you currently have now, is in a way worthy of you. That's why you have it. In other words, it makes you feel important in some ways. So, rather than hating it because of what you think it might be like or what others are saying it's like, or it should be like, really appreciate it because you wanted it. Let me give you this instance. If you were born in the slum, okay, if you grew up in the slum or you live your life in the slum, you actually feel important having to rise from the slum or from zero to grace. If you are struggling to be successful now, you actually could be having the sense of importance from having to struggle and then telling some people your story in the future, like your younger generations and so on and so forth, telling them the story that, I struggled in life before I rose to fame and so on and so forth. Do you see? It's in a way important to you. That's why you keep it. So don't be ashamed of it. I talked about feeling people need your business earlier, yeah? So if you felt people needed your business, it's in a way giving you the sense of importance that your business is saving people's lives. Do we see that? So you don't want to hate something like that. Just want to accept it willingly. And then know that, okay, I created this, but do I want it? No, I don't want it, so now it's time for you to go. That's it. Okay? So this would be maybe our last question after this. I want to have my very amazing friend back. I have resistance for them as we have ended up badly. Again, go through your fundamentals on this. Why did you think they did something bad or you did something bad? Who do you think had to change? Are you thinking that you have to change your behavior, appeal to them in a certain way, and so on and so forth? Ask yourself these questions until you find your answers about them, your honest answers about them, then you can change it. Do you still want to keep it? For instance, you want to keep asking yourself questions like, who's going to chat you first, message you first, come back with whom first? Then if you find that you don't need all of these things, then simply go on to the second step, definition of aim, and the third, which is detachment. And again, maybe I should mention this. This whole thing on fundamentals is really a grand revision. For your self-concept. That's what fundamentals is. Or in other words, a practical control of your inner conversation. So the three of them are one. Okay, our final question here. What about if you don't remember some of the things when doing self-observation? Does it affect the outcome? No. Whatever you are able to observe now, you change now. If there are other things still in you, the time will come for them to show up, and they won't affect what you've already created if you don't deviate from the imagination that keeps the result you have there. In other words, let me put it this way. I did my self-observation in May. My fundamentals in May changed my life very fantastically. I still do my fundamentals now, and I'm still changing some other aspects of my life that I'm remembering now. Okay, but that doesn't affect the outcome I've got from May. I still keep enjoying the fruits or the harvest of that. So that would be it. Until our next coaching clinic. Oh, just one more point on that friend thing. It's simple, really, really, and truly simple. Okay, do this. Go through fundamentals. That is for Samara. Go through fundamentals. Ask yourself the questions thoroughly, and then reviewing your answers to it, really do the work in imagination, and then wait for the results to come. Allow the results to come. So if the old story comes up, it's truly because there's somewhere in your self-observation that you were critical or not honest with yourself. Otherwise, if you go through to detachments and you did it successfully, your old story wouldn't make you react. You won't be capable of reaction to the old story. So that'll be it. Until our next coaching clinic, do have a great time, everyone. Thank you and so much love to you all. Bye-bye.